Paul, perhaps we want to move to the next and final segment.
I think it's about that time. So we're now going to be moving into what we like to call the Rapid7. And the basic idea is that we're going to ask questions of you and keep the answers as simple as possible, down to like one word. And we just go through and try to ask quickly. So you guys ready?
Yep.
I hope so.
Fantastic.
Can we have a practice question first of all?
No. Skin in the game.
Okay.
Okay.
If I mess this one up, then we can always edit this out, can't we? Yeah, go on then.
That's just what was meant to happen, if that's what happens.
Very, very funny, Paul.
So what we're going to do is we're going to ask a question
Process, Andrew.
of one of you, and then ask a question of the other one. So just because we've got a couple. So first one, we're going to ask Robert. So Robert, the best rock, stone, or mineral?
Quartzite.
Quartzite. Nice. Okay.
Now, Andrew, I think it's your turn for the same question.
I have no idea. I only know that
This is a real geological question.
There are no intangible rocks as far as I'm concerned, actually. So I'll have to go Mick Jagger.
The Philosopher's Stone. There is. The Philosopher's Stone is the intangible.
Sorry, I don't know.
Good enough. Good enough.
Fair.
So,
Fair enough.
Andrew, you're asking, or you're getting the first half of this question. Your most valuable intangible asset?
The love of my children.
Fantastic. Robert?
Yeah, it has to be relationships and interconnections. So I think, yeah.
Okay, now the next question, we're going to start with Robert. Describe the future in one word.
Renaissance.
I love it. Andrew?
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great.
Perfect. All right. Next, describe the present in one word. Andrew?
Shit.
Excellent. It's an assessment, right? Sometimes it's got pain. I get that.
It is horrific, the present.
In so many wonderful ways. Robert, your take on the present.
That briefly in a phrase, it's deconstructing the old to construct the new. So it isn't necessarily painful.
This makes sense. And there is a certain degree of fecundity when you're dealing with shit. You can grow an awful lot out of it. Just gotta deal with it. That's.
I might use a different word and say painful. It causes me physical pain. Current. The amount of suffering and the lack of empathy.
This makes sense.
These sound like powerful words. Based on the above, based on what was shared, both the positive and the negative, Robert, this is for you first. Describe your state of mind in one word.
Hopeful.
Andrew?
I'm now terribly excited. Actually, but you know this from me. I'm one part excited, one part intimidated by the scale of what we're doing, and one part absolutely terrified.
So that's 3 words. 3 in 1 makes sense.
But
I never do what's asked of me. I always break the rules. I'm sorry, but
don't worry.
Don't ask me to ever actually play by the rules.
Not expected.
Thank you.
One of my favorite things is that whenever you've got a system that exists around you that you're expected to participate in which you have in no way participated in setting the rules or agreed to the system, in a lot of ways, it doesn't make a lot of sense to work by those rules. It makes sense to question them, to throw it out there, to point out problems. This is
and that's Paul kicking out Rapid from the Rapid7.
Right? Just gone completely. Okay, so we'll jump right back into it. Let me see. Andrew.
Not his fault though. Not his fault though. Right?
Sure. Andrew, Boris Johnson or Greta Thunberg?
Oh, Greta Thunberg.
Right.
Every day. Every day of the week. I had a great big Boris rant on the way past number 10 last night. 5-minute rant, basically.
Bojo.
Benny Hill takes on the climate emergency.
Right. Robert.
Oh, absolutely. Youth rather than antiquated, barbaric, privileged. Yeah, absolutely. Greta.
Okay, final question. We're starting with you, Robert. An inspirational message or advice in no more than 5 words. And I'm sure it's going to be more than 5 words, but whatever.
Well, always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Andrew.
Love.
That was less than 5 words.
Yeah.
Love then, if you want.
There's a song. There's a song.
I think there's a song for both of them, actually.
I think there is, yeah.
Fantastic.
And so we're going to end this with some music. Wonderful. Now, there's something that I want to refer back, something that you said, Robert, which is unlearning. And this is both important on the personal and the social level. I think yesterday it was, I was delivering a workshop for the PMI summit, and the topic of it was unlearning. And the idea behind it was to discover the URL of life. So the URL is usually equivalent of a street, but a digital street. And so the URL of life is something that we absolutely need in order to leverage our personal leadership, but also change the way things are happening on the ground. Can you guess what the U, the R, and the L refer to?
With the U, the R, and the L.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to answer a different question. When you talk about
answer
URL,
this question.
The street you want to walk down is Broadway, because that encompasses the vision and the direction and the importance. Always be walking down Broadway.
It applies to Broadway, actually, incredibly well. The U, the R, and the L, they apply perfectly well to Broadway.
There you go.
Andrew, you want to give it a go?
No. I have no idea. Unlearn, is that one of the words?
That's the first one, yes.
Okay. Relearn?
Yes. The third one is easy.
It'll be learn then, won't it?
You haven't mentioned empathy.
Absolutely.
Who hasn't mentioned empathy?
You haven't mentioned empathy in your 5 words or whatever. You always mention empathy.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't the question, though.
Oh,
that was nowhere near the question.
The URL.
No. It was a URL. Anyway, never mind. Actually, yeah.
No, but Andrew, you got it right. You got it right. It's unlearning, relearning, and learning. And this is a continuous thing that happened, and it applies to Broadway because, well, you learn something, but then you have to unlearn it in order to relearn it. And I think this aligns, Andrew. We had many discussions around this on the importance of unlearning the old value system, unlearning everything that we've known so far that goes back to the industrial revolution, to the industrial age, and then relearn something new. And along the way, we have to, I think the most important thing is that the learning that we need to do is in alignment with human value and with what we value as human beings and as a society. Would that make sense?
Absolutely.
It totally does. And I don't want to have the last word, but I might do. Again, actually, I would, for anybody, read The Road Less Traveled as a book. It's the most amazing personal and spiritual journey. And Peck talks about people find new information very difficult to assimilate. But the reason for the difficulty is laziness, because to assimilate new information, you have to alter your map of reality. And that's really hard to do. So yes, it's it's interesting, Alexander, you and I have had all these conversations about actually how do you teach people to understand that they have to actually lose their map of reality on a regular basis, and that being the discomfort then of actually new learning. There we go. I don't want the last word. Please, somebody else say something.
No worry.
Because I'm always known for
Don't
having
worry.
the last word.
Don't
And I
worry.
don't want to have the last word.
Oh, I think that that's a really important thing to hit on, this concept that your worldview, we're all just sitting in the dark. All of us are just alone in the dark, and we build around us structures, apparatuses through which we can understand what's around us, perceive, have an idea of how things might work. And sometimes we build them not terribly efficiently. Sometimes we build them out of flammable materials. But once you've built your house out of matchsticks and something has come along and burned it all down around you, you always have the opportunity to rebuild. You always have the opportunity to break down the existing remaining bits of structure if they don't work and build something more accurate. That's effectively all science is a series of lenses that we have built that let us stare out into the darkness and find connections to one another.
reality.
Exactly.
Mm.
And understanding
this is
how
what-
all of it works.
One of these really interesting things I learned in studying capitalism is that it's basically all made up.
Right.
And I think you have to start with that. Like things of value exist in nature, but capital does not. Capital is a social fiction. It's a creation. And so we can mold it in any way we want. And we now have an opportunity to reinvent it, recreate it in ways that are valuable to the things that we value. And to me, that's the historic opportunity.
Agreed. You know, I think that's probably a good place for us to wrap things up today. What do you think, Alexander?
Can I say thank you, by the way, to the two of you? Because this is a rare opportunity for us, Robert, to have a sort of isn't it? We don't have much of a chance to enjoy ourselves, do we really? I've really enjoyed this. Thank you. And I thought it was brilliant to be able to have the opportunity to talk. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no,
absolutely our pleasure.
I apologize for my technology. It really is
from outer space to planet Earth. We managed to get this conversation going surprisingly well, since Paul and I are in outer space, just flying around like crazy. And Robert and Andrew are technically speaking, which I want to go back to Robert's metaphor and connect the dots here. We can say that you're in the basement of the outer space.
Yeah.
You are fixing the basement of the outer space.
The foundations.
I think we
the walls are crumbling.
I think we fixed it, Robert, haven't we? We can shore up the old until we build one of Paul's new matchstick houses. Actually, we can at least shore up the old until actually we can move into the new. It's very interesting. There's a couple of guys.
We've got the plan. We've got the blueprint.
Yeah, there's a couple of
the
guys.
house could still fall in on us.
If you want to at some stage reach out to a couple of guys, Jamie Arbib and Tony Sieber run Rethink X. At some point in time, actually, they're worthwhile talking to. And they've just published a paper called Rethinking Humanity. And it basically says it can really go either way from here. We're either going to go descend into the dark ages, or actually we're going to have this total renaissance. And what we've been saying to Jamie and Tony is, yeah, but you can reduce the probability of the dark ages if you really sort of, just follow history. I've actually said several times, it's self-fulfilling. It's great now. It's a self-fulfilling story.
It is. And this is quite relevant actually to the end of the podcast, because the title of the podcast is Boundless Renaissance.
There you go.
So there you go. So Andrew, Robert, thank you so much for being here. It's been
thanks very much.
It's been really a pleasure. I was positive that we're going to have an impressive conversation, and I think that we did. So thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing all these bits and pieces of life and economy and houses burning and all these things that we don't want to imagine. But then these things come with an actual key that perhaps can shift things forward and repurpose the blueprint that we have for our lives and for society. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. And on behalf of PersEd, well, I think on behalf of Rethinking Capital, we both thank you very much. To our listeners, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.